What's up everybody, my name is Legend with Ditto Music, and today I'm teaching how to mix vocals professionally in 5 steps. But before we begin, you're probably here because you make music, which means you probably want to get it heard. You're in the right place. With Ditto Music, you can release unlimited songs to every major streaming platform, and you get to keep 100% of the money that you make. And the best part is there's a 30-day free trial linked below for you to give it a try yourself. But that's not it. We're also running another giveaway for the Shure SRH840A headphones that you can use as you're tracking these vocals. All you have to do is tap that subscribe button and leave a comment down below. Maybe let us know what your favorite plugin to mix with is. Now let's jump into the video. First thing I do when I'm ready to start mixing my song is what I like to call the cleanup. During this process, I usually clean up all my sessions the same way, starting with removing any background noises that I have in my audio. Now, there are going to be 2 ways to do this. One is basically to simply highlight the track that you want to edit. Click our scissors button to edit the track, highlight, and then simply click delete. The problem with this method here is you end up with these harsh cuts on your audio sometimes, where it doesn't fade out naturally. To fix that, you'll want to add some fades at the end of your audio.
You and me, you and me.
The second way to do this would be to use any type of noise suppressor plugin, whether it's third-party like Waves NS1 or something built directly into your DAW like a normal noise gate. With plugins like Waves NS1, all you have to do is slide this one slider and it's going to automatically detect whatever background noise that you have and take out to the best of its abilities what's there.
You and me, you and me.
Plugins like these allow for more soft cuts of your audio in between spaces where there's nothing being heard. And this is done without the need of having to go through every single track and delete every single empty space that you need to delete. So it is a much faster process and one that I would recommend you do. Now on to step number 2, the automation. So as we sing or we rap even, there's going to be natural rises and falls in our vocals and pitch. I mean, we're not robots after all. So even the best singers in the world use a little bit of automation to help them get the best possible vocal on their songs. This could be from anything like regulating the volume of your tracks to making sure that your auto-tune is hitting all the right notes. So here's a section of my verse where you can clearly see that certain parts of my vocal are quieter than others. I can use automation here to basically bring up this part of the vocal without turning this part up as well. So to do that, I'll go to Mix and Show Automation in Logic Pro. So only this part is going to be turned up while the rest of the vocal remains unchanged. So here's what it sounded like before. So this approach is for people who want something more hands-on and to have the total control over the volume of their tracks. But you can use plugins like Waves Vocal Writer to do this for you, all automated. As you can probably tell, I also have auto-tune on my song, and this can be considered a form of automation as well. The purpose of auto-tune is not always to get a robotic sound. It's not always to sound like T-Pain. Sometimes it's merely to clean up, like I said before, very tiny incorrect pitches that we might have or fluctuations in our audio that we just can't seem to fix or sing correctly.
No matter we couldn't break. Do you believe in fate?
The important thing to remember with auto-tune is to put it at the top of your vocal track every time. The reason for this is because if you have it after your reverbs, after your delays, after every other effect that you have, auto-tune is going to be trying to auto-tune everything that it's hearing, including the reverb, rather than just your source audio, which is you singing straight from the microphone. So now we can move on to EQing your song. EQ or equalization is a process in which we are manipulating certain frequencies in our vocals and our instruments. This can be by way of subtracting some of those frequencies or adding them back into the mix. This is done so that every single element of the song fits together cohesively. Think something like making a bass guitar more bassy on the bottom, Or maybe a snare more poppy in the mid-range. This is what I typically like to do. Almost every DAW has its own version of an EQ, and most will look something like this graph here, where on the left side you have your low end, in the middle you have your mid-range, and on the right side you have your high end. Are there any parts of the song that feel like they're overpowering or outshining other parts when they're not supposed to? For instance, when I'm singing in my head voice and I'm singing all those high notes, I get a lot of brightness in my vocals. So to fix this, what I would do is put a channel EQ on a bus channel where all of these vocals are going to, and then I would basically put a low pass filter on this. Let's say I want to add some brightness to my vocal and have it sound really airy and bright and kind of crispy on the high end.
No matter we couldn't break, do you believe in fate?
So this can be useful for when you're trying to do things like remove certain like hisses from your audio. Now this could also be considered de-essing, because a de-esser is something that takes out those harsh S sounds and like high pitch piercing frequencies from your audio. Here's an example of a module or a plugin that will de-ess your vocals for you. It's called RxDS. It's one of their modules from the RX plugin, and I'm just gonna go ahead and select a basic preset here. So we'll do Control Vocal Sibilance. From there, I'll play the output S only so you can hear the sounds that it's taking out of my vocal. Now onto step number 4, the compressor. Compressors are easily some of my favorite plugins to use when I'm mixing because they can make almost anything pop by just slapping it on there. What they're used for is to squash or reduce the dynamic range of your audio. And by that I mean the quietest parts of your vocal get raised up and the loudest parts of your vocal get squashed down. Let's go back to the vocal where I use the volume automation and try a compressor instead. I'm gonna go ahead and take off the vocal rider, and I've removed my volume automation here.
No matter we couldn't break, do you believe in fate? No matter we couldn't break, do you believe in fate?
Oh, it's so crispy. I love it. I love it. Moving on to the last and final step, number 5, the character. And what better way to add style and flair to your song than to use 2 of the most universal plugins that are in almost every session, a reverb and a delay. I tend to use reverbs to create a sense of space and separation in my tracks, while delays kind of fill in the empty spaces that I have in my songs. And so you can see how both of these plugins can kind of work together in conjunction. While one is making separation, the other glues everything together. So let's take a look at the beginning of my song here, where I have plenty of blank spaces to work with.
I used to think that the whole world revolved around you and me. And I used to think that the whole world revolved around you and me. And
so you hear how now we have a little bit more of forward motion between those 2 lines, and there's not that abrupt stop. This is one of my favorite ways to use a delay. Even though we have these 2 lines tied together, there's still a little bit of claustrophobia that I feel, and the vocal has nowhere to go, nowhere to breathe. You can use something like iZotope's Neoverb, which is one of the best reverbs that I've personally used. It's an intuitive plugin that has visuals that guide you to the type of sound that you're looking for. And it can be as complex or as simple as you need it to be. If you're someone like me who prefers something more simple most of the time, you can use Reverb Assistant, which is going to help you dial in the reverb to the sound that you want by first determining your ideal set of parameters. And after you've dialed in all these parameters and you've listened to how it could potentially sound, you go ahead and tap next. You let Neoverb listen to the audio, and then it'll basically craft a custom reverb for you.
no matter we couldn't break, do you believe in fate?
So now let's listen to our song before and after all the changes that we made, and see how mixing can transform your music from something that sounds amateur to something that sounds ready to release.
I used to think that the whole world revolved around you and me. And I used to think that the whole world revolved around you and me. And someone told me the whole world could fall without loving something. And someone told me the whole world could fall without loving something.
So this is how to mix a song professionally in 5 steps. Of course, there are other plugins that you can use. There are other methods you can use. There are other ways that you can mix if you want. I hope you found this video to be helpful. And also don't forget to subscribe and leave your comment down below for your chance to win the Shure SRH840A headphones. Thank you guys for watching. And as always, stay legendary.
Peace.